Brighton Station, November 1944. A porter muttering, "Look at them. That's the 5th train this evening. Bet they're glad to be back in Blighty." George, sitting by the window, wipes the condensation with the cuff of his jacket, the smell of decay and wet mould attaching itself to his sleeve. He looks out over the chaotic scenes on the platform. Porters with trolleys waiting to take luggage onto onward transport. Ambulance crews accompanied by young women in crisp nurses' uniforms waiting to attend to the sick or the dying. Officers marching around the platform, occasionally barking orders. And the relatives, the poor relatives, anxiously waiting and watching on for their troops to actually descend from the train onto the platform, drifting in and out of focus through the swirling crowds and the steam and smoke of the engines. For the lucky, unassisted. For the others, on stretchers or crutches. Poor buggers, thought George, as he readied himself to descend from the train. Meanwhile, Dora, on the platform, pats down her coat and readjusts her hat for the 10th time in minutes. "Excuse me, mister, is this the last train?" The porter takes his watch from his pocket, looks at her and says, "Let's hope so, eh, miss? You waiting for someone then?" "Yes," she said, standing on the tips of her toes to get a better view. "George, my fiancé," she says. "Brave lads, every one of them," the porter says, as he makes his way towards the exit. George, standing in the doorway of the train, looks out and surveys the scene. "Get a move on, mate," a voice from behind urging him to step down. "Oh, I'm sorry, I was just looking out for someone." "Looking for someone, were you?" "State wherein, you'd be lucky if you're recognised." Well, it hadn't occurred to George that he wouldn't be recognised. Then, above the noise on the platform, he thought he could hear something. Above the screams and shouts and occasional shouts of joy from his fellow passengers. Orders being shouted, and the steel wheels of the porter's trolleys screeching on the stone platform. Yes, someone was shouting, "George, George, my Georgie!" He turned to see Dora battling her way through the crowds, making her excuses as she went. Excuse me, please let me through, George!" The crowd parts. She steps forward and looks up and "George!" She stops abruptly in her tracks, her face and eyes momentarily reflecting the horror that she felt as she saw for the first time the extent of his injuries. The scarring to his face and his neck, the missing eye, and what remained of his right arm. She quickly tried to compose herself and smiled weakly and said, "Oh, my Georgie." From his undamaged eye, George had seen that look of horror flash across Dora's face. That look would remain with him for the rest of his life. As he picked up his bag and made his way past Dora into the crowd, he says, "No, miss, you must be mistaken. I'm not your George."